From Toronto to Barrie to Niagara Falls to Hamilton, we have more losses today, and unfortunately, we might have one of the worst ones that we've seen yet. Today, we're going to show you some more realistic homes. We know there's a lot of mansions that have lost millions of dollars, but the ones we're going to show you today are way more realistic price points. But what they actually were purchased for were not so realistic based on what we're seeing today. We're going to start off and show you one of the losses here. This property just sold for $1.3 million. It was listed for $1,080,000, so that's all good and well. It sold $80K less than the asking price. But of course, what's more important is what did they actually pay for the home, and did they do anything to the home inside to actually renovate it, add more additional costs on top of the home, and then the market flips and they lose their shirt, so to speak. So we just sold here $1.3 million. The details: 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. There's a bedroom in the basement here, and then it was sub 1,500 square feet. So not a very big place here on Northwood in Toronto. So this is the Newton Brook East area. Just took 9 days to sell it at this current list price. So from 1,380 to 1.3 sale price, took 9 days to sell. Of course, let's see what the listing situation was like here for you. So they did have it at other prices beforehand. So it didn't take 9 days to sell in total. Just once they hit that list price of 1,380, thereafter there was 9 days. But of course, this thing was on the market as far back as, here you go, it was back in 2024, but in 2025 it was on the market as far back as May. So this one did sell back in 2021 for $1,950. So right out the gate, just sale price back then to sale price now, you're talking a $650,000 loss. Now we'll look at the old listing so you can see what it looked like before versus today, just so you can make your interpretation as well. So it already did have some of the updated flooring, some of the pot lighting here. It just had some bigger, older furniture. It's not a house that's going to wow you by any stretch. This home is actually currently, by these new owners that paid 1.3, it's already on the market for lease as well. So what you can see here is just mediocre pictures at best during the time that this was being sold. And just to remind you when that was that time frame of 2021, 2022. Realtors were clearly not even using media teams to take a picture, to get things done properly. Like, this is a property that does not look great from the media. So that being said, if we go and look at what it looks like today, professional media, it's been on the market for a lot longer, but you've got your drone shots. Now we can tell, okay, great, it is a corner lot. Corner lot's not my favorite. And then when we're coming inside here, you're gonna get a much better look at the property. It's lighter, it's brighter, it's staged. So yes, it is the same property. We have some better staging, better furniture in here for today's look. Looks like they've refreshed, or at least made the kitchen a lot more workable. But because you've got the appliance here, you know there's a second suite in the basement, which I already did mention for you guys. They're going to quickly span and show you guys these bedrooms here. And then you'll notice that once we head into the basement, there is that separate unit that they've got currently on the market for lease. So there's a 1-bedroom unit downstairs, then you have upstairs that's separately being leased out. So these guys, they've taken a big hit. It's $1.3 million tag that it just sold for. You know, I guess for today's market, that's what market value is, right? So whether you think that's still too high or not, that is what it sold for at the beginning of December. Now, one thing to note here is sometimes we do see, if you're selling a property, this is good information for you, we do see the offering to the agent higher than typical. So typically you'll see a 5% split, so 2.5 and 2.5 between the buyers and the seller side. But if you're seeing a 3% commission, what that means sometimes is either this could be used as leverage to maybe get this property sold quicker. Sometimes sellers say, hey, it's a bad market, we're going to offer more to try to get our home sold quicker. If you're a seller, maybe that's something that that could help you sell a property, is offering more commission to get agents to bring their clients out to look at the property. The second one we're going to look at today is going to take us out to Hamilton. As I mentioned, we're going to take you all over the place today because we got a bunch of different losses. This one was listed for $850, sold for $820. Doesn't look all that bad. 53 days on market at this list price to sell it for that. Now, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1 separate bedroom in the basement, sub 1,500 square feet. Funny enough, very similar details to the last property, although $820,000 in Hamilton versus the 1.3 sale price in the North York area. Now, what you're going to notice when you are looking at this property here is we are going to notice that they've played around with the price quite a bit. Once again, they started this one on the market for $969, so this isn't their first rodeo at $850. They actually bought this property for $1,276. So they have taken a pretty significant loss. So from $1,276 to actually selling it for $820,000, that is a $400,000+ loss. But there's also a little bit more to the situation here. This home previously, when it was bought for $1,276, you already know this is going to be a 2022 timeline, and this seller, they just got away with robbery here. They sold it at the peak of the market. Now, kudos to them. What did they do after the fact? Did they buy something else, or did they just run away from the market? If they ran away from the market, they won. They were the true winner in this situation. But let's take a look at what the house itself looked like here. So you're going to notice there's carpet on the main area here, a little bit of hardwood here, some tiles. So you walk in, you got 3 different types of flooring. Not my favorite to have 3 different sections of flooring. I'd like a little bit more consistency on the flooring personally. It's not a deal breaker. You got this older style glass wall here, separator. Now this is a nightmare. Like, just things I think about now as a parent, like not a chance that I'm leaving that in my house. Personally, with young kids, that's just asking for cracked skull. And as you can see here, kitchen is nice. It's nothing extremely extravagant. This is actually a movable island. You'll notice in the newer sale, it's not here anymore. So that is actually gone. And what you're going to notice with the rest of the home is there was carpeting throughout the house. So there was some work to be done, so to speak, for the potential buyers to come in. So they came in, they bought this for $1,276. Now they're selling for $820,000. So they've taken a big hit. But now we really need to see what the inside of the house looks like compared to that, because we're going to add on top of that loss. So come into the new version of the home. They left that wall, but they did replace the flooring here to give us some consistency, at least in this living dining space here. So they've done a little bit of cost when it comes to the flooring. Kitchen looks a lot different without that movable island that's there. You're going to notice bathrooms are the same, but the flooring in all the bedrooms is the same. So at a bare minimum here, they've replaced the flooring. Now, replacing flooring is not necessarily the most expensive thing, but it's not spending nothing on the property, right? So they spent a little bit of money here. Now they find themselves selling this for $820,000. Is this a power of sale? It is not a power of sale, and you're not seeing that because I'm making sure I'm keeping some information blocked off there. But it is not a power of sale, and that's a tough loss for somebody to take. So that's our second of the day here, topping $450,000 plus a little bit of renovations here in the Hamilton area. But that's not the biggest one. That's not even the piece de resistance for today. We have a couple more here. One in Barrie, one in Niagara, one just sold here, listed $859. Sold $775. Right out the gate, that already sounds good. But of course, we're going to have to backtrack. We're going to have to check if, in fact, that was the only time it was on the market. Because if it was 36 days, okay, not the end of the world, but they took a nice haircut here for sure. Almost $100K, 25 to 3,000 square feet. It's a 3-bed plus 3 downstairs and 5 bathrooms. So there's a lot going on here. It kind of sounds like it could be a rental situation with 3 bedrooms in the basement. And of course, what we need to verify is what the situation is. And of course, it is a power of sale. We've seen a lot of power sales. If you don't know how a power sale works, you can watch this video up here. I will actually show you like what that power sale process is actually like. But beyond that, how long has it been on the market? What have they been doing with this? So $859 was obviously not the first time they had it on the market. They actually have had this on and off the market all the way back since, here we go. Look how far back this thing goes. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. They basically had it back on the market since 2023, April of 2023 for 1.2. They've played that game. They've dropped it. There's no transactions happening over here. And now we end up selling for $775. So from that original list to the sale price is like $500K off. Now, of course, we got to see it. It was purchased for $1,350. And of course, this seller, again, these are all lined up. It's crazy. February 16th, 2022. If you ask somebody what the peak was, it's probably like the first week of March. So these guys are like extremely close to what that peak was. And of course, the sellers before that, they just gotta love it. You buy for $445 and then you sell. You put it on the market for $999, sell for $1.35. Just, I don't know. I don't know who's guiding somebody to spend not only $350,000 over asking in Niagara, but just look at the trajectory here. In 5 years, they tripled their money, essentially. Pretty amazing. Now, of course, let's look. Let's see what that old listing looked like. Selling for $1,350. We got to see what was going on over there. Did they have a fully renovated home? What was the situation? So they had it staged up at the end. They had some carpet in the bedrooms upstairs. They had some hardwood flooring throughout the house, possibly laminate. Hard to tell here from the pictures. Really nothing super special, right? The kitchen, once we get to the kitchen, which I guess is not the most important to them, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies, a lot of corners. It's not a bad looking kitchen personally, not my style, but it's all right. Basement does have the apartment. You can tell here you've got your separate entrance and then you've got your little kitchen set up here, but the pictures are super unorganized. So we've got lots of nooks and crannies, a really small sink, which is not great for anybody really. Just kind of wash your hands. And if they're going to show us the basement, here you go, right? So you've basically got somewhere where they were housing students. Okay. Cool. The person says, I'm spending $350 over asking so I can get into this property. And now guess what? So the person basically says, I spent $350,000 over asking. I'm going to put students in here. I'm going to make money hand over fist. And then a few years later, bam, they are looking at $775,000. So they find themselves in a really poor situation. Of course, this is a power of sale. Like, there's no question that this is a power of sale. They're also looking at options for vendor financing. So they're trying everything and anything to try to get this sold, except for obviously offering more commission, because that's not something we see in the Niagara area all that often. And just to verify, nothing was done inside the property. It actually looks quite clean on the inside. The pictures are nice. The house looks nice and bright. So they did what they needed to on the media side of things just to get some reasonable looking pictures here and get it on the market. It doesn't look like they've done any renovations. Doesn't look like anything spectacular was done. They've just got some different angles and some more brightness to the actual pictures. Still doesn't look like it is even professional in all of them, but gives you a sense that, okay, tit for tat, same house, less, you know, 500,000-600,000, just absolutely insane. They may or may not have even had it rented out for that long. So this is one of the biggest losses we're going to see. And we're going to finish it off with something north. We're going to go to Barrie and see what's going on out there. Listed for $550, took 127 days at $550 to sell for $539, which is kind of astounding that it's only $11,000 less than asking price at $550 after 127 days. If I was a buyer, I'd be grinding that price down as far as I could. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath. You got 5 rooms, 3 total parking spaces. It's small, 700 to 1,100 square feet. And what we do want to see here is, of course, it is a trust, community trust company. So this is a bank sale. And what we do want to really find out even more than that is how long has it been on the market? So they were at $550 for a while. They tested out $609. They tested out $639. They tested out back in 2024, about a year and a bit ago, almost $900,000. It was leased out for a bit. So they've done quite a bit here. But look what they bought this thing for. This is always what it's just amazing. $975,000. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you that $975,000 sale. You're going to tell me, I can't believe somebody spent 975 grand for this home here. It's not Toronto. This is what sold for 975 grand. They've got the drone shots, show us what's going on. Okay, it's got nice clean carpet. It's got an okay layout, living and dining space here. Kitchen is dated, probably not everybody's style. And, you know, it looks okay. And believe it or not, this looks better than what I'm going to show you the home looks like right now. That's the sad part. So yes, it was carpeted. The carpet doesn't look like it's in rough shape at all. Like, it's dated for sure. But keep in mind, someone almost spent $1 million for this in Barrie. Yeah. So just remember that at the end of the day, we're looking here at like a 400 and change $1,000 loss on 1,000 square feet, 1,100 square feet. Check it out. This is what the property looks like today for $539. Take a deep breath. They've done some nice new tiles. It looks like they've done some wall work here. Okay, we've got some stairs. You might be saying, hey, I thought you said it was going to look worse. Just wait. They just didn't have the cash. They could not finish the renovation. Unfortunately, they went into this somehow thinking, I guess 975 still left room for them to make more money once they renovated this home. Maybe that was the thought. I hope maybe it was we want to open this up and make it our dream home and live here forever. But to think you're going to get something for more than $1 million here, yeah, you know, water is turned off. Of course, it's a power of sale. They don't want you using it. They've renovated the bathroom, but they didn't do like a great job. They got rid of all the carpet, probably put some laminate floor, some vinyl flooring down. They replaced the lighting, put a little powder room inside the master, took out all that wall, wood slat wall, and they started doing a lot of work here. But unfortunately, this looks significantly worse than what they bought it looking like. So that's what we got today. We've got Niagara Falls, Barrie, Hamilton, we got North York. We got a lot of people who are losing a lot of money. And unfortunately, I don't think we are at the end of this. This is just the first month of 2026. 2022, 5 years later, which is all these mortgage renewals, is coming up to 2027. I think the rest of this year, we're going to see a lot more of this stuff. If you're a seller, be really cautious that this is happening all the time. If you are in this position, don't go and do any renovations. If you think you're going to sell and try to recoup some money by doing a renovation, just know people are really just looking at sale prices right now. You're not going to make your 50 grand you spent on your kitchen back when you sell your home right now. In the previous market, 2021, 2022, you were going to renovate a kitchen for 50, you were going to get 100 somehow. That's not what it's like right now. So just be very cautious. And if you are still kind of curious about what's going on in the market, maybe you're thinking of selling your home, I'll have a full seller guide here. Hopefully gets you not in the position of a lot of the people that we're looking at today. But if you're a buyer, you want to capitalize on some of this, watch the buyer guide right here. That might give you more sense of, okay, I need to do this, this, and this before I can actually take the next steps in today's real estate market. Thanks for watching this one. Sad to see all the losses, but I know this is something that you guys want to stay updated on. So have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.